Hello everybody, welcome back to Newsfront. Lots going on this week, lots to get to, so yeah, let's dive straight back in. The MMA Hour was on yesterday, of course, and Francis Ngannou was on it, talking all about the potential matchup with Fury. Now, he expected Fury would probably call him out and look for a fight, but he didn't think he'd get called into the actual ring, or ask him the size of his Corey.
The guy just earned the moment. He was the man of the night. He could have just stand there and be cocky. I'm like, oh, I'm this, I'm that. But he called me in the ring and he speak to me very respectfully.
Ngannou reckons there's about a 70% chance he fights Tyson next, and he's not going to sign a new UFC contract unless it's stipulated that he gets to fight Tyson in it.
Tyson Fury fight has to be part of the discussion. That's not an option. So I think it's going to happen. I think it's just a matter of our promotion, the situation, but we're going to sort this out at some point. I would say 70% chance that he'll be against Tyson Fury.
If you ask him as well, he's hoping the UFC get on board and help co-promote it. He thinks it's just going to be a bigger fight if that happens. I mean, look at Floyd Conor.
Doesn't matter how big it could be, the UFC can make it bigger.
And yes, he knows everybody is doubting him and saying he can't do it, but he believes he can knock him out, all right? And why wouldn't he? I mean, his whole life has been a struggle and he's overcome everything so far.
100% I believe I can knock it out. As I said, it's not easy, but it's possible.
So fuck you, haters. They've been talking about all kinds of different hybrid rule sets for this one, smaller gloves, no boxing shoes, stuff like that. Not sure what it's going to be. Clearly they have no idea, but it should be fun.
Make it like a hybrid fight, something that make it comfortable as a boxer, MMA gloves, for example, maybe barefoot or something.
He also said that he met with Hunter and Dana as well, but apparently one meeting isn't going to be enough to repair the damage to the relationship.
We had a meeting with a dinner with the UFC. We have to clear the air, and I was speaking about my frustration. It's not a thing that's supposed to be solved in one night, so I think he might take some time.
But it doesn't really matter right now because he can't fight. He's still recovering from the injury. He just had surgery, and it's probably going to be November at the earliest that we can expect to see him back. And by then, that's the end of his contract and it will expire.
It's been 5 weeks and a half now. I've been off crutches for two weeks now. Potentially in November, but more likely in December.
He's not done with MMA though. He did talk about Jones and Stipe as potential future opponents, so he still wants to be in the UFC. The question is, will they pay him?
Tyson Fury is not my last fight. I want to keep fighting. After Tyson Fury, there's still a lot of fight out there. There's the John Jones, there's trilogy with Stipe. There's still a big fight I can do in the UFC. So, and I would really like that to happen.
Let's hope the negotiations go well. Do you think this is actually going to happen though? Will we get a Floyd Conor 2? What do you think? Moving on to the king of cringe now, Ali Abdelaziz posted a picture of Cejudo, Hunter Campbell and Sean Shelby. Apparently, he is coming back. Who'd have thought? Yeah, everyone. But it's true, it's happening. He talked about a return at 135. Yeah, he's targeting Aljo Sterling.
Oh, shit, get him. We talked over dinner. We were there for I was with them for a few hours. There's two weight classes that are really open. There's TJ, Aljo, there's Holloway, there's Volkanovski. Like, it's the terrain is pretty nice, man. I'm sitting in a good position right now.
It's funny that though, because the other week Volkanovski fought and he wanted to fight him. Now Aljo fights, he wants to fight Aljo. Make your mind up, you know what I mean? So he sat down with the schmo to have a little chit chat about what the options look like, and apparently he's got quite a few. That is, if he can control Dana White. Apparently he probably said a little bit more than he should have in the media, and he's got to wait for his head to go back to a normal shade of pink.
I'll let Ali do his job. I like to reconcile with Dana. I probably did go overboard a little bit with the words, but man, this is just strictly business, man. So maybe an apology, but at the same time, it's about you can't hate on me for trying to fight my fight too.
So they seem pretty set on him coming back and fighting at least 3 times a year as well, being an active champion. I'm guessing they're still a little hurt from what GSP did to him.
They want a champion that's going to continue to keep, winning and coming back. The fighter's going to fight 3 times.
And that's perfect, because he's only got 3 fights left on his contract.
There's 3 fights left on my contract. You know what I mean? I can either fight them out or wait it out.
Apparently as well, there's going to be a Netflix documentary all about his return, eh?
There's actually a big documentary coming out with me on Netflix. So prior to my comeback, I would love to fight so people could actually get to know my story.
I'll watch that. In other news, 10 years later, Dan Hardy's actually finally making a return to combat sports. Apparently, he's making more in this fight than his entire UFC career combined. But it's actually less money than he would have made in bare knuckle. Just ask Ben Rothwell.
BKFC came with the best offer. Wow.
Got it in there. Got that news piece in there. They said I couldn't do it, but Big Ben, I care about you and your big hairy arms, you big bastard. He said it was a nice middle ground for the pair of them. They were offered an MMA fight for pitiful cash, and then they were offered a bare knuckle fight for lots of money, but you know, even Dan doesn't want to do that to Diego. So he said it's a nice middle ground, 16-ounce gloves, a good fight for him, and an exhibition fight. So there you go. He was talking to a few other promotions as well, apparently. One championship for a Muay Thai or an MMA fight. He talked about Shinya Aoki, which would have been a great fight, or even Eddie Alvarez as well. So while he was on the MMA Hour talking to Ariel Helwani, Ariel, of course, brought up the subject of UFC London and supposed return in July, but Dan had a bit of bad news.
This is the reason why the UFC aren't going back to Liverpool, is because they've got a different sponsor at the arena.
Come on.
The sponsor won't allow combat sports.
Yeah, apparently the Echo Arena has now been bought by Marks and Spencer's, which, if you don't know, is basically Whole Foods in the US. So they're very anti-combat sports, and apparently there's going to be no more events at the Echo as long as they are the sponsor. Which means no UFC Liverpool in July, I guess. Mixed martial arts. Save the art. Fuck you, Meryl Streep. I don't mean that. You're a fantastic actress. So I guess, yeah, that pretty much means Liverpool is out, or at least that's what Dan is telling us. This week, PFL is on Thursday, not Wednesday. Doesn't mean I'm going to stay up for it either, but the main event is Bruno Capoloza taking on Stuart Austin. Capoloza won the tournament last year, and Stuart Austin, well, he coaches down at Fight Zone in East London. How do I know? Because I'll bloody train there, ain't I? Also, Stuart's the last guy to actually beat Tom Aspinall. Technically, he has a DQ loss, but Stuart's the only guy to actually get a proper victory over him by a heel hook, I believe. So, let's go, Stuart! East London. Brendan Loughnane is also on the card. You'll remember him for Dana White's Contender Series. He won his fight, but he went for a takedown in like the last 10 seconds, and Dana wasn't happy about that, apparently. Can't get takedowns in MMA anymore, apparently. It's not good enough. He's fighting in the co-main event against Ryoji Kudo, who's coming over from Cejudo. Looks like a good prospect, fought for the title over there. 10-2 at featherweight. It should be a good fight. Lance Palmer is also coming back. He had a bit of a rough 2021, but he is a former champion over there at PFL, and he's looking to bounce back in spectacular fashion, I imagine. Also, Renan Ferreira is on the card as well. He's the guy who had that weird fight with Verdum. You know, he tapped and then Verdum kind of got TKO'd anyway. I don't really know if he knows what the rules are, but it was overturned. To his credit, he is on a 2-fight win streak though. In fact, one of those wins is over the main eventer, which is kind of a bit weird, so sorry, Stuart.
It is weird.
You're fucking weird. Sorry. Last week, we mentioned undefeated Moldovan Alexander Romanov had his fight cancelled, and Chase Sherman filled in short notice, but they couldn't fight. Apparently, Chase was a bit injured, so they moved the fight to this weekend instead.
Have you heard the betting odds?
Are they not the same as last week, minus 1,400?
Oh, you know that off the top of your head?
I do.
Okay, but you don't know this one for some reason.
Well, what are the odds?
Minus 2,300.
Minus 23?
Yeah, it's the biggest betting on.
That's got to be a UFC record. That's it for the news, everybody. Thank you for watching. We're back Friday this week, not Thursday, so come back here, fight front, fight place, fight hard, fight smart, fight your mum. I didn't mean that.